Welcome to Channel 18 News. I'm Jim Rogers. In a revocation of probation conducted Thursday in 8th Judicial District Court, Jimmy D. Odell, age 60, was sentenced to 10 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. The district attorney's office was able to prove that, after being released from jail on February 7th of this year, Odell had later fired a crossbow bolt through his ex-wife's window on February 20th. It was just one more act in a number of incidents of stalking for which Odell had been arrested. Odell was indicted by a Hopkins County grand jury in October of 2017 for stalking. The indictment followed his fourth arrest for stalking since August 2, 2017. It was found that he was within 696 feet of the place of employment of his victim of his August 8, 2017 stalking charge. He was in violation of the protective order that had been issued at that time. Other incidents had also placed Odell in Hopkins County Jail dating back to April of 2017. Odell was in Hopkins County Jail from October 2017 until February 7th. Assistant District Attorney Matt Harris stated that the conviction and sentencing of Odell came following incredible investigative work done by investigators Dennis Finley, Wade Sheets, Corley Weatherford, and Sergeant Scott Davis of the Hopkins County Sheriff's Office. Although Odell steadfastly proclaimed that he did not fire the crossbow bolt into his wife's home, and there were no witnesses or direct evidence, the officers were able to gather every piece of available circumstantial evidence and present a case that left no doubt that Odell was the culprit, according to Harris. Harris told KSST News that he's proud to work with such a competent and dedicated group of law enforcement professionals. When the Cumbie police officer conducted a Terry frisk on Emmett Riley, age 60, of Monticello, Arkansas, following a traffic stop, the officer found a bag of marijuana sitting atop a Derringer pistol in Riley's front right pocket. The smell of marijuana emitting from the auto had led to the Terry frisk. Riley, a convicted felon, was charged with unlawful possession of a firearm by a felon, a felony 3. He's in Hopkins County Jail. Numbers for Republican voters increased Thursday as 168 voters voted in the May primary runoff election, voted early. 10 Democrats voted in the statewide runoff election. Total votes for the first 4 days: Republicans 589, Democrats 39. Early voting ended at 5 p.m. on Friday. May 22nd is primary election day, with the voting place open from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. In Hopkins County, you may vote at the Lutheran Church on Texas Street, Morning Chapel Missionary Baptist Church on Fuller Street, the courthouse downtown, League Street Church of Christ, and Como-Picton School on Highway 11. You may vote there on Tuesday.
It just happens one time a year, a different kind of rodeo, the Branded Ranch Rodeo in the Hopkins County Civic Center. It is Saturday, May 19th. The rodeo starts at 5 o'clock, but be out there early because there is a festival going on all day with free food, an obstacle course, and lots of fun things for all ages. Also, you might be the winner of a Kearney trailer, or your family might win the best seat in the house with catered meal while you enjoy the rodeo. Let's find out more from one of the organizers, Rowdy France.
Actually, there was a kind of neat story. Several cowboy churches got together and we started what is Branded Ranch Rodeo, which is a not-for-profit organization, and we just put on a rodeo and we raise money to benefit Community Seeds, which is a faith-based not-for-profit organization that is based in Lone Oak, and they serve Hopkins, Hunt, and Rains County. They provide temporary housing. They have a food bank there. They provide clothing. They provide all kinds of training, and their motto is giving people a hand up and not a handout. So they're a really good organization that they really help out the community and help folks get back on their feet.
Well, it looks like Community Seeds is successful at doing what they do for the community, and so is Branded Ranch Rodeo. Plus, You have a lot of fun.
We do. It is a great fun, family fun kind of event. Ranch rodeo, a little bit different than traditional rodeo, but it's getting to see teams work together rather than individuals competing in events, that things that would have probably happened on the ranch back in the 1800s or so, back before fences and corrals and all that, when they had to do stuff out there on the range. So pretty neat events. Pretty exciting. We have one of the crowd pleasers is always the wild cow milking. And if you can imagine back in the 1800s, if you had a little calf that was maybe orphaned or something like that and you needed milk, you just went and roped a cow and had to milk her out there in the open. And that's kind of what we're simulating there in the arena. And it's usually a big wreck. You know, we tend to like the things like bull riding and bronc riding and that kind of stuff. And it's always a wreck when you rope an old cow, and she might be fairly gentle in the pens, but when you get her on the end of a rope, she's not too happy and she doesn't give up her milk willingly. So it's fun. You get to root for the ranches and the guys that are riding and representing those ranches. So you got 12 teams this year that are competing against one another, and they're local cowboys, and we usually have some teams come in from Oklahoma. So you got a lot of talented cowboys that are riding, that do this for day work for a living. So it's a good rodeo.
Are many of these cowboys members of cowboy churches?
Some of them are, some of them aren't, so we don't make it exclusive to members of cowboy churches, but yeah, there's quite a few of them. There'll be a team I know from Cross Trails that'll be there. That'll be representing Cross Trails Cowboy Church over in Fairleigh, and we have the four churches that are a part of this is Cross Trails in Fairleigh, Bull Creek over in Lone Oak, Higher Trails in Merritt, and then, of course, our church here in Sulphur Springs, Cross Country Cowboy Church.
So, I know we've been over this before, but usually when we go to rodeos, and we have a half a dozen in our Civic Center arena throughout the year, and there's a lot of hype, and there's a lot of clowns and music and noise. Mm-hmm. Maybe even fireworks, but that's not a ranch rodeo. No.
As I said, it's a team that is representing a ranch, or they have a name, so you can kind of get behind that team. And we compete in events like wild cow milking, mugging, which is very much like calf roping, except you're using an 800-pound yearling, so it's not just a little calf. So you got one guy that ropes the calf or the yearling, and then you have to get it on the ground and tie it up just like you do in calf roping. So it's always it's another big wreck. It's a fight to get those 800-pound calves on the ground. And then we do have ranch bronc riding that is much like the bronc riding you see in traditional rodeo, except they don't get to use specialized saddles. They have to use the saddles just like they would ride any other horse. So those saddles aren't specifically made for the bucking that you experience during the bronc riding. So it's a little bit more exciting. They don't have near as much to hang on with. So that's a big event. And then we have sorting. If you like to watch cutting horses work, it's very much like that. You have to ride into a big herd of cattle and cut out specific ones and get certain cattle out, keep the other ones in behind this line that they're working from, and the whole team is working together to do that, to get that accomplished. And then we have doctoring. It's just simulating a sick calf, so you have to cut a calf out of a herd, or a yearling, usually something bigger than a baby calf, but something big. And then you have to head and heel, much like team roping, get it down on the ground, mark it, and then release it to get a completed time. So all these events, like I say, are simulating things that would have happened on the ranch. Still do today, but most of the times we put them in pens so that we can work on them, but this is simulating the things that would have happened out on the range years ago.
Well, and this is for the whole family, and it's just great family entertainment. Are there any children's events?
We will have children's events. This year we will have a calf scramble. I believe the calf scramble is going to be for 10 and under, and that'll be open to all the kids that are there. And then we will also have mutton busting. Mutton busting, of course, they're riding a sheep and that will be it'll be announced probably toward the beginning of the rodeo that night, and it'll be the first 10 that get there to sign up, so that we can, limit it to, so it doesn't end up being too long of an event. But there'll be the first 10 that get there and get signed up can participate in the mutton busting for the kids. And we'll have clowns there. Gizmo McCracken is going to be the entertainment in the arena, and then we have Rosie the clown will be doing balloon art and doing things with the kids outside the arena. So it's like I say, it's a fun family event. It's a threefold event for us. As Cowboy churches, we always want to support the Western heritage part of our life. So we're doing things like putting on rodeos. The other thing that we're doing is raising money for Community Seeds. This is, like I said, a very good organization, and the net proceeds all support Community Seeds. So everything that we can raise above and beyond what this rodeo costs to put on goes to them, and so that they can further help our community. And then last, but certainly not least, it's the most important reason for us Cowboy churches as to why we put on a rodeo. It's to draw a crowd so that we can tell folks about Jesus, so that we get to share the gospel with folks and let them know that there's a Savior, and He loves us, and He wants us to have eternal life. And that's our main reason for putting on that rodeo.
Well, I love the whole concept of the branded ranch rodeo and the friendliness and openness that there is, and just the kind of people that participate,
yes,
or
ma'am.
really folks that you would like to know
Right.
and look up to. Will there be any food?
There will be. Now, we'll be having a concession stand during the rodeo, and then also this year we're doing something a little bit different. We have a festival, and it starts at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, and it's going to be going on from then up until the rodeo. The Army is coming in, and they're joining with us. We're going to have an obstacle course that they will set up, rock climbing walls, bounce houses, slides, all kinds of things for kids to have fun with and participate in, and all that is completely free. We'll have a live band there, going to be playing music. There'll be chuck wagons there cooking food. We'll have Texas Twister chips, homemade potato chips that'll be there, and all that stuff is free. There will be other food there that will be more like the concession stand. Of course, they charge for that, but the rest of it is totally free, and it's just going to be a good time to come out and have fun. Now, it is out in front of the Civic Center out on the grounds, so if you want to bring a chair or something like that to have a place to sit, that would be good, but there'll be a lot of things for kids to do, and just time to have a good time up until the rodeo.
That is so fabulous. And bringing the Army Reserve here. And so this obstacle course, rock climbing wall, is more than just for children.
Right. Anybody can participate in this.
Free?
And it's free, totally free.
My goodness, thank you so much for what you're doing for our community. Well, will there be any music?
There'll be live music played during, I think it'll start probably about 11, but it'll be out there probably under the gazebo out in front of the Civic Center. We'll have a band from Cross Trails Cowboy Church playing, so there'll be live music, and of course the rodeo starts at 5, gates open at 4, it's climate controlled. You can stay cool tomorrow, even though it's probably going to be kind of warm here, but it's a great time. And entry's just $5, so we make it very affordable, and we always want to let people remember that it's a way to help your community. It's a place to go have fun family entertainment, but those $5 help support our community as well, and help folks that are maybe in a rough spot in their life, maybe a little less fortunate or something like that, and Community Seeds helps those folks.
It's a wonderful cause and a wonderful group that helps with people in need in local area through Community Seeds. Well, we are going to have some tickets to give away here in about 3 or 4 minutes, so don't go too far away from the radio, but I do want to ask you how you ever got started having an interest. Well, I know your family has an interest in a Western lifestyle, so maybe you were kind of born into it.
I was born into it with a name like Rowdy, and that's not a nickname. So I get asked that, how did I get that? It was Rowdy Yates on Rawhide. So my family was always part of, messing with horses and ranching and dairying here, and horses have always been a part of my life. So it just being part of rodeo is kind of natural for me. So.
Well, we sure do remember your dad very fondly, and I love to hear him give that call anyway when he was wagon master.
That's right, yeah. In '86, we got to go around the state of Texas for the Texas Sesquicentennial Wagon Train.
Were you grown, or did you go to school?
I was 17 at that time, and I was part of, I think there was somewhere around 30 of us kids. They did have a school on the wagon train, and I was a junior then, and was one of the kids that was part of the Texas Sesquicentennial Wagon Train School that went around Texas. We just traveled with the wagon train and got to go around. And Texas history, studying Texas history was a little bit different, because we would always study where we were at. Though if there was anything of historical significance, we would go out to those sites and study those things firsthand. So it was a pretty neat deal.
That was a statewide thing that originated right here in Sulphur Springs.
Yes, ma'am.
And there's a lot to be seen of its history, I think, down in our Hopkins County Museum. So look that up.
Again, it's fun, family, good entertainment, and I think we put on a really good ranch rodeo. If you've ever seen ranch rodeos, I was at a ranch rodeo this last weekend, and it was a good event, and we put on, I think, just as good a ranch rodeo.
And real quickly, just before we came on the air, you were telling me about a competition that you took part in earlier this year?
It was this last weekend in Abilene at the Western Heritage Classic. I competed in a colt starting competition where five guys in 5 round pens working with 5 horses that had never been saddled or bridled, and get almost 3.5 hours over 2 days' time to introduce them to a saddle and a rider, and then go through a obstacle course with those horses where it was pretty challenging, but it was fun. It was something it's what I do for a living is start colts, but I'd never competed in any kind of competition, but it was pretty fun. Ended up placing second, so it was good.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Rowdy, and all the things that you do and your family, and we appreciate you. Turn out for the Branded Ranch Rodeo Saturday at the Civic Center.
Thanks for watching Channel 18 News. With more scholarships expected to be presented to members of the Class 2018, Sulphur Springs High School Honors Awards Program recognizes those who've already been named to receive scholarships and those who have received awards. Stay tuned for the replay of the awards ceremony. Have a great evening.